Some persons, their immunity is their office. Once they lose their office, they lose their immunity and they start panting. While others, their resources, their cash, their everything is about very mundane things. And once the source are cut off, they become blank. On Open Forum, our dream is our immunity. Our faith, our passion is a cash that we use to do what we do. And we, by the grace of God, we try as much as possible to do very simple things in extraordinary ways. And we also turn what some persons may call frustration. Very negative, I don't know how to term it. We turn it to advantage. We get inspired. When you see people that have nothing to offer, behave as if they are the best things to happen to humanity. That should inspire you. That should not weaken you. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. You are welcome to Open Forum with Season MKO. Today is the 24th day in the month of March, the year 2025. And as usual, we are always here on Mondays with the talk show of consequence for state and nation building. And we are doing this because we are defenders of humanity. We protect the vulnerable. And in Nigeria, the rich and the poor are vulnerable. Those in public offices, from presidents, governors, senators, name them, they are all vulnerable. Not just that woman in the street corner or that physically challenged persons. So we try to balance the act. We speak for the strong and we defend the weak. If one is an oppressor, we also help oppressors by doing what? By giving them free brain transplant to know that they don't have authority over those they consider as weak. And for the weak that say don't have a voice, you have a voice in Open Forum. We are here and we will do this the rest of our lives because God does not lack remnants. Yeah. So if we talk about God, I wouldn't be here without God. I live a life of revelation. And this program is a revelation. And today is going to be a revelation too, because we're going to go into issues that some don't dare talk about, even those who are saddled with those responsibilities. They don't dare talk about it, but we'll talk about it here because we are operating an ideas bank for development and for nation building. And above all, we do this as a non-partisan organization. Open Forum is Open Forum Care for Humanity Foundation. We are an NGO. We don't have sponsors. We are doing this because we are determined to make the difference. Today, we are going to have a guest in the studio that is somebody like, we know no bankers when they strike a good customer that will bring in good funds. For Ideas Bank, the man that is coming here today, by the grace of God, is going to add value to whatsoever you have known in a new dimension. We've been doing that. It's our trademark. Last week, we had with us Professor Ntero Moren, who's a professor of decision sciences, and who is also the co-chairman of the Akpanepo Public Policy Center. And he scored, as a second person, scored the hat trick to be on Open Forum with ZNMKO, with the town hall on radio 3 times. And that's because we had very critical issues to deal with. And guess what? We did justice to them. And for our listeners, I'm sure if you followed us, you know what we are talking about. And so today, I want to say thank you to Professor Ntero Moren. All the videos are there on YouTube and on Facebook. And just because there's so much work pressure on us, we are unable to, labeling them properly, pushing them out. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And above all, virtually most of the things we hear, you will read them in a book. And you also get to see some things that will be classified as revelations by the grace of God when that is done. And it's going to be this year. We'll work towards that, and we'll need your support. We'll get more details as we go on. So for last week, these were the advocacies, just some, that we arrived at. And the first we started as just a passing comment, but it's very instructive, is that most people, media houses, government functionaries, everywhere, even myself, I was uncomfortable until Prof helped me to really be myself. When we call His Excellency, the man that in open forum we call him Mr. Compassion Personified so far, because he's compassionate about people who were crushed, people who, some of them have died, some of their families have been destroyed for some years. But he came and has brought succor to so many. We classify him as compassion personified. And when we say, Pastor Umar Basieno, PhD, it sounds very wonderful, very elevating. But Professor Nteru Moren, a professor of decision sciences, said it's an insult on Pastor Moino to add PhD after his name, as his one is his name. No, he read it and he earned it. He should be called either Pastor Umar Basieno or Dr. Umar Basieno. And we've asked for advice, the media handlers, government authorities, and media houses to take note. And others who are also fond of adding PhD after their names. They are not ceremonial. You read, you earn it. So you either Mr. or you doctor. And that was our advocacy. So all those errors should be corrected going forward. And you are getting that from Open Forum. The second advocacy that we arrived at was that the Wike versus Fubara political crisis in Rivers State and the inability of the federal government of Nigeria under President Tinubu to effectively mediate is as a result of the fact that politically exposed persons are unable to separate politics from governance in Nigeria. This is not good for the socio-economic security and political well-being of the country. It is a big shame and embarrassment. I am personally ashamed that people keep turning answers to questions. Very simple things. Why? Because they are not after solutions. They are allergic to solution because of their self-interest. And since some of them are not even ashamed at all to bring those things to the table, they do it. And society aligns because a number of persons are weak. They don't know what to do. They are helpless. If you speak the truth, how would you feed? Because government would not, we should be ashamed. And indeed, some of us are ashamed. There's difference between politics and governance. And it's high time people in public offices know that. We also said here that the proposed upgrade of the College of Education of Faranset to University of Education is not well articulated. The university should be made to offer other courses, either in sciences, or in technology, or as we in Open Forum had proposed, that university should be called Kwame State University of Education and Entrepreneurship Development, or Kwame State University of Education and Innovation, or Kwame State University of Education and Enterprise. But Prof said it should be Kwame State University of Education and Science and Technology. We had made our proposals to the House of Assembly, to the Governor, to the Commissioner for Education, on what is to be done. That bill has been passed already, but it's not late. It's not been signed. The Governor can tinker with it, and by the grace of God, make that place worth the while. And we also raised the issue of the fact that schools in Akwa Ibom State have been grossly mismanaged, particularly tertiary institutions, because there seem to be very poor supervision of those institutions. We recommended that it should be segmented. Education should look at the basic education, primary, and then secondary, while tertiary education should be pushed to the Deputy Governor's office. Our guests felt otherwise, but that's the position of Open Forum. Why? Because so many crises going on in these higher institutions, tertiary institutions, too many. We are handling some of them, cases that are brought to us. We are still on them. It's very unfortunate, but our guest had given his opinion as education scientist that Minister of Education should be made to live up to expectation, not what we've been having. If you know what has been going on at a certain level, you'll be embarrassed that we could have people man offices are unable to deliver, but they keep being recycled in the system. ball is in the governor's court. We also uh, recommended that His Excellency should have a think tank, a private think tank. Those people don't need to be known. Ideas, policies should be subjected to critical thinking, because most appointees of government don't dare say anything against whatever the governor says, because to them Napoleon is always right. When they live there, they will go and tell the truth to them, to their friends and to themselves. But because you don't want to be seen as being brilliant, because in this part of the world, for you to be brilliant, for you to be bold is an insult. You are a threat to leadership. And that's why we keep messing around. But most of those people also keep being recycled over and over. Unfortunately, we go in circles. So that is one of our recommendations to His Excellency. Please have a think tank. A number of persons. Some of them are retired. Some of them are just thinkers. We are doing this free of charge, and we keep on doing it. And I have said we'll be doing this the rest of our lives. We'll do it, and there are some that we cannot even bring on air because it's deep, too deep. So we keep on sharing our thought with people, and then putting across to the governor. Very importantly, I am going to, because we are likely going to have our guest here again. He's on his way. We had some technical issues, but he's on his way. And then I think the last thing we said about that was that Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom should, as a matter of urgent public importance, implement the Akwa Ibom strategic education roadmap for a coordinated approach to the development of education in Akwa Ibom State. He has done so much based on his Arise agenda, but there is a superior plan, a master plan that was put together, headed by Professor Hilary Young and about 19 others, or 18 others. I was privileged to have been co-opted into that team, the technical team as a community affiliate, and I can tell you that no state in this country has that kind of master plan. But it's there abandoned after a state of emergency was declared. We'll do something about that. So for today, we are going to look at, it is the 21st, part 21 in our stock-taking agenda setting for an Akwa Ibom without oil. And we are looking at the proposed May 25 groundbreaking of the Ibom Deep Sea Port by Governor Moino's administration, and what are the matters arising. And we are also going to look at the state of the state, President Tinubu's controversial state of emergency declared over the godfather-godson political struggle in, Rivers State. And very unfortunately, we are because some persons are unable to think, they are unable to decide, and they are unable to listen to words of counsel. Then we also have the Senate probe of annexation of Nigeria's maritime territory in Mangrove Island villages of Efiat in Mbo local government area in Akwa Ibom State. And then we'll also talk about the claim that Oro people of Akwa Ibom State are Ijaws. Is it fact or is it fiction? We've seen some videos where, like the IYC president, Ijaw Youth Congress president, mentioned local government that is in Akwa Ibom State, which includes Oro local governments, as being Ijaws. We also saw a video some time ago where Princess Angio Briggs mentioned that Oro people were part of a delegation of Ijaw people that went on a courtesy visit, I think whether to the president or whatever. It's a very serious matter, and here we face issues. Having said that, while still expecting other guests, we are going to put a call across to somebody who's very important. We are supposed to have had him on this program about 3 weeks ago. It's not possible yet, but we're going to have just a tip, a little from him, to let us know what is going on. But before we do that, this is our usual food for thought and thought for food. And it says, there is a difference between a healthy discussion and a pointless debate. A conversation with someone who is open-minded, who values growth and understanding can be enlightening, even if you don't agree. But trying to reason with someone who refuses to see beyond their own beliefs, that's like talking to a wall. Helen Mirren, this very quote caught my attention on social media. The same social media that people are complaining that is not adding value, is destroying their life, is destroying the country, is what we are using as our powerhouse to do wonders for ourselves and humanity. And it is a promise that I made that I will see how I can take the full statement that was made by that lady for posterity and to guide us, because particularly now, it's important we understand who we're talking with. We know their limit, we know their capacity. So let me take that fully. It says, before you argue with someone, ask yourself, is that person even mentally mature enough to grasp the concept of a different perspective? Because if not, there's absolutely no point. Not every argument is worth your energy. Sometimes, no matter how clearly you express yourself, the other person isn't listening to react. They are listening. No, let me take that again, please. Because if not, there's absolutely no point. Not every argument is worth your energy. Sometimes, no matter how clearly you express yourself, the other person isn't listening to understand. They are listening to react. They are stuck in their own perspective, unwilling to consider another viewpoint, and engaging with them only drains you. There is a difference between a healthy discussion and a pointless debate. A conversation with someone who is open-minded, who values growth and understanding, can be enlightening, even if you don't agree. But trying to reason with someone who refuses to see beyond their own beliefs, that's like talking to a wall. No matter how much logic or truth you present, they will twist, deflect, or dismiss your words, not because you are wrong, but because they are unwilling to see another side. Maturity isn't about who wins an argument. It's about knowing when an argument isn't worth having. It's realizing that your peace is more valuable than proving a point to someone who has already decided that they won't change their mind. Not every battle needs to be fought. Not every person deserves your explanation. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to walk away, not because you have nothing to say, but because you recognize that some people aren't ready to listen, and that's not your burden to carry. Helen Mirren. The troubling part here is the solution she has preferred. She said, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to walk away, not because you don't have anything to say. Walking away has become a challenge. That's why the Bible people, when they are fed up with something, they will say, Nsimbage, whatever you like, you do. And they add something to eat. At the mass and able, mass and beer, if you don't want the young, he wouldn't chase the goat. And they are very fulfilled people. Though some persons, some new aliens have infiltrated and made our people look as if we are like others. We are exceptional people. And this is the land where women looked at what the whites did. And they said, hey, you want to tax us? This is impossible. The oppression is already too much. If our men would not rise up, women rose up. 1929, women war. Women. And they were gone down. They did not run away. But what do we have now? Compromise. People groveling, crawling on the ground. Strangely, those that should come to beg them, they are the ones going to beg them to offer themselves and to accept what is wrong. That is far from who we are. Open Forum. We are running what we call Open Forum Global Community. It's a coalition of the bright and the brave, and you can be part of it. All you need to do is just check down our number, call us at 0802-757-7497. I take that again. 0802-757-7497. This is one of the places you can be sure that citizens' interests are protected. And those in political offices, their interests are most protected because we help them to succeed. This program is done in support of the Arise agenda and the Happy Eye initiative of Governor Moino, as well as uh, the renewed hope for a new Nigeria by President Tinubu. And the things we say here, we can say it anywhere, and we are ready to defend it no matter how anybody feels about it. There is a particular thing that happened over the week, something that really, really so satisfying. Some persons may not be aware. I think 2012, 2013, Bakassi was seeded. 2004. Bakassi was ceded to Cameroon through a court judgment. And that was very painful. That is a story for another day. But having to do with the current situation now is that a citizen who has been very passionate about following up issues in that sector and who, in 2022, was a guest speaker at one of our town hall meetings that Open Forum held. I can't forget that town hall meeting. We had paramount rulers. We later did a lot. It took me close to 2 million after we did a World Press Conference. I guess the only assistance I got was from IPC, Igbo People's Congress, that gave me 100,000. But we did that and came out with a guide to help our people. And what does that mean? The mangrove island villages of Efiat in Bologo government areas have been annexed by Cameroon government, and there are over 2,000 oil wells and gas reserves there. And I want to put a call across to the person I'm going to talk with now, who is the lead consultant, who, by the grace of God, has been with us, worked with us, been part of whatever communication at a certain level. At the state level, there was no response. But Senator representing the Central District, Nekan Bassi, presented a motion, moved the motion on the floor, and Senate has set up a committee to look at that annexation. Let me see if we can get him on air right now to just give us an insight. We're going to have him on radio live soon, and you'll be shocked at what individuals who are not being listened to are doing for the good of not just Akwa Ibom, but Nigeria. Hello, sir. Hello? We're having network issues here. While we are waiting for...
Dear customer, the MTN number you have dialed is currently switched off.
Wow. Maybe it's still network. Let me try that again, because we had agreed that it was going to be on. The Senate has set up a 7-man committee to look at the issue of annexation of the mangrove swamps in Mbolugu government area. Hello? Hello, good morning. Yeah, please, can you speak clearly? We are live on radio. I hope I'm speaking with the lead consultant that is handling the issue of the annexed mangrove islands of Mbolugu government area by the Cameroonian government. Okay. Very briefly, can you tell us the journey so far, what you did before it got to the point that the House of National Assembly, particularly the Senate, is now on the matter after that matter was taken up so many years ago by the Robinson Ruak when he was in the House, even here. Now tell us. Go ahead, sir. Hello? Hello? Please still hold on. Hold on. We are trying to get some technical things so that the audio can come out. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, sir. Hello, consultant. Are you there? Okay, let's just manage the audio that we have. Now, tell us briefly, the mangrove island villages of Mbologo government areas annexed by Cameroon government. Maybe as brief as possible so we can take more questions before our guest comes in.
Okay. Mangrove, the case of Mangrove Island was a mix-up with the Bakassi Peninsula. Bakassi Peninsula is quite isolated from Ifiando Mangrove Island, the 16 villages.
How many villages?
16 villages.
Okay.
That island is surrounded by water, is not joined to the peninsula. By a simple geography, an island is a land that is is surrounded by water. While peninsula is an area of, is a land that is is surrounded by water, is surrounded by water but joined to a large portion of land. That is a peninsula.
Okay.
When you get down from Itabino, within the access of Akwa down to outside you discover that the 16 villages is completely detached from Bakassi Peninsula area. And a research of over 25 years, we discovered a lot of lapses in that access.
Okay.
Now the question is, has Nigerian government prepared Bakassi map before? The answer is no. Has Akwa Ibom State prepared Bakassi map before? The answer is no. Has Cross River State prepared Bakassi map before? The answer is no. All the maps that portrays as Bakassi Peninsula is tailored by the France that colonized Cameroon. Do you think my point?
I'm following you, sir.
Now, what is happening is that there is a mix-up. Cameroon is claiming the Kiambo villages as Bakassi Peninsula, while the name of the Bakassi Peninsula is claimed by the Cameroon as Erong Peninsula. That is the truth that they will having because there is not enough oil in the Bakassi Peninsula access. The oil is concentrated in the Mangrove Island.
So why would Nigeria have such oil and gas deposit and not be interested in that land?
Not a matter of interest. The point remains. The question is who owns Bakassi Peninsula? That is the greatest question.
Or Mangrove Island, you mean to say?
No, I mean the other side of Bakassi Peninsula and the Mangrove Island is in the Bible.
So now let's come back home. Because of time. Were you? I'm aware of some things, but I want to speak directly. What efforts have you made to reach out to the government of Akwa Ibom State before now, and what has been the outcome?
In the first place, right from 2014, we've been drafting a motion which Robinson was presented at the House of Reps.
And that sailed through to a point before he could not get back to the House. Now, about the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, the member representing, was it Mbo, also moved the motion here. What was the state of that motion before we got to this point that it seems nobody is interested, even from Akwa Ibom State?
Now, what happened is that the House of Reps proceeded on the Robinson motion. And they the proceedings, they approve all the prayers. Then the ad hoc committee was to be set up. But due to electoral campaign, there was no time for the action, the ad hoc committee to be set up. While Robinson was not able to go back to the House, that was why the case remained stalemate.
Now, we are going to have you on air. Let's do this. We're going to have you on air soon as I had announced this. I recall that in 2022, you spoke at Open Forum Town Hall meeting where you raised this issue and we were all shocked. we were dumbfounded that this kind of thing can be going on. Now tell us with your own mouth, how many oil wells, gas, whatever, what's the capacity of the wealth that is contained in that very mangrove island?
During 2008-9, American Oil Depletion, oil predicted that one-tenth of the whole world oil is deposited at Bakassi Peninsula. At Bakassi. Are you hearing me?
Really?
That was the prediction. One-tenth of the whole oil and gas is being deposited there. So Nigeria do not know are not aware of the economy.
Is Cameroon exploiting it as we speak?
They are exploiting. Okay, let me come up. 1913 treaties placed Nigerian, boundary between Cameroon and Bakassi at Rio de Rey. That is about Sahara.
Yes.
But why should Cameroon cross from about Sahara into Mbu and extract oil?
Now, we don't want to, let's do this. We don't want to do blame game now. We're going to have you on air. We've been following up. I have the brief. I remember, I think last year we were together when you pushed a letter to the authorities here. Have you gotten a response to the letters that you sent to His Excellency?
In 2023, we sent a brief to His Excellency. Then the letter was received, and our copy was stamped.
Yes.
Up until now, His Excellency have not seen that letter. Because there is nobody in the government that could see such a content that will fold his arms without looking for those that have sent this content.
Okay, let's do this. We all have to defend leaders, and there's an extent to which we can go to do that. But what I want to say is that you may likely be in Abuja soon, but when you are back, we are going to arrange to have you live on air. I'm keeping your identity close, and for those who know, they know. And I want to appeal to our leaders. There are too many issues, critical issues, which people like us and others, like this consultant, has put forward to the right authorities. Letters are not being responded to. It is sickening. And with this, it's unbelievable. That's not discussion for today. I want to thank you so very much. I like to be a mystery man today. When you are here, and the world will get to know you more. And by the grace of God, the things we have done even together, far back at 2022 on this matter, and others that you have done over the years, the world will get to know that we have people who are sacrificing their lives. They don't have the means, but they have the brain power that money can never buy. Thank you so very much. We have our guest in the house. We're going to do introductory to the kind of conversation that is going to change who we are by the grace of God. And we believe, I already booked him, that today will just be toast for start. By his next coming, we are going to go into other matters. So thank you very much, our mystery man. Let me to call you mystery man. Is that all right, sir? Yes, sir. We are still live on air.
My credit goes to Senator Onyeka Mbashi.
That's right.
Who was able to present that motion. Among all the Senate representatives, we have approached with the draft of that technical motion. Because the motion is highly technical.
It's highly technical.
It's international motion. So we thank Onyeka Mbashi for pulling the muscle that has to present this motion to the entire world.
No, we'll have time to do more. Thank you so very much. I thank Senator Onyeka Mbashi. God doesn't like remnants, but we are going to do more. When people hear us talk, they will say we are proud, we are stubborn, we are insulting. We will not keep quiet. Not at this age. I'll be 60 by August. I never blinked. While growing up as a child, my peers couldn't even influence me negatively. Is it now? Impossible. We are going to save humanity so that we'll be able to stand before God and say, Father, all that you give to me, I gave it all. We want to die empty. thank you so very much. Our mystery voice for today, you are going to be unveiled. And for those who know already, congratulations, you are wise. We've been doing this together with this man by the grace of God. By the point I met with him in 2022. He's been following our things, and he came to the town hall. In fact, the current education commissioner was to be guest speaker. He had a pressing matter that took him away, and God brought this mystery man, and he presented the issue of the mangrove island being annexed by Cameroon. And we talked about it. Nobody seems to care. Here we are. Thank you so very much. Till I call you again, sir. Yes, we have right here in the studio a man that is hard to describe. I am not fit to introduce him properly, but when you hear him, even for the next 10, 15 minutes, you will know that we have, like I said earlier, when a bank has met a good customer, they treat him, they pamper him because they know their life depends on him. We are an ideas bank, and somebody's coming here with the kind of ideas that we need to keep in store. When you need any particular issue, we just come to us, we lift and give to you. We give it free. We give it free. Help me welcome the man whose nickname stuck, not because he was born with it, not because he had it before that time, but in the process of trying to be the state chairman of the People's Democratic Party some years ago. It was battle royale. Not now that governors are the one picking chairman and dropping them. President picking party chairman and dropping them at will. This man fought his way, and we fought side by side. We were together in Abuja. I remember the glass curtain of Bolingo came down, and he eventually emerged. Help me welcome architect Otu Itatoyo, the man that is known as Total Chair. Total Chair, you're welcome to Open Forum.
Thank you, sir. MKO, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I'm sorry for the little technical issues that we had, that you couldn't be here on time. I know we're going to make up. You may have to score hat trick and maybe even add Jara. Now, let's start from, before we go to the introduction of some early things having to do with party and the positions that you held.
That's right.
Now, this issue of the Mbo Mangrove Island, the Fiat villages, that's your domain. You are from the oral extraction.
Exactly.
Are you aware of this very issue that I've just spoke with the mystery man?
Nothing there surprises me. I represented Bakassi in the Constituent Assembly of that's the Aniagolo Constituent Assembly.
Okay.
I was the elected representative.
80 something.
Yeah, 85, I believe, of Bakassi. And I like to stretch that a bit. Bakassi had never been administered from anywhere outside the Oron domain. And Bakassi means even those parts which General Obasanjo ceded to
Cameroon.
the Cameroon. I think they said he had a little motive there. He wanted some Nobel Peace something.
Yeah, something like that.
But the point I'm trying to make is that you could not fight for Biafra from Cross River. They had no papers. They had no materials. They had never.
No, you mean Bakassi, not Biafra.
And Bakassi. Biafra is another name. Yes, Bakassi. And so they all went to The Hague. They went, I don't know which world court. They got some fancy Lagos lawyers. They went there and lost, and then came back to dash the thing to the Cameroon. Not a whimper. Abacha, I believe it was, just took Bakassi, gave it like a present to
Obasanjo. Right.
No. First, it was caught out of Cross River during Bako.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Bako said he's an indigenous of Bakassi.
Colonel Bako is the one, and I went with him to Bakassi, and he planted the school there.
That's right.
He planted the health center.
I remember.
So the point I'm trying to make, so we hurry along, is that when you start things fraudulently, you're bound to encounter headwinds ahead of you.
That's right.
That's where we are with Bakassi. The Cameroons had absolutely no claims to Bakassi, at least right from the First World War.
So we need to commend this mystery man for now for what he has done.
Yeah,
He has struggled. He's been to my office after the town hall meeting we had, where I was shocked at the kind of things. I've seen maps, and I know that a number of persons in government, even those who should know things about that mangrove island and the fact that there's so much gas, oil and gas deposits there, they are not even interested.
Nigerians are not interested in public welfare.
But the money they'll get is what? How would they be able to loot if they didn't even secure these things?
The point is they don't even know how to loot.
They don't.
Because if they were interested in looting, they would deepen the wells of looting. Because, and you have people who are incredibly inept. They're inefficient, even in their lootings.
Total Chair.
Yes.
I said earlier before you came, I said instead of being weakened by what people see, which makes our people, quite even people, they say Zimbabwe and Mars we need to be provoked. These things provokes me. It should. We need to let world know that don't be moved by what some fellows who have nothing to offer. If they have the courage, they don't have anything to offer, but they are bold. Why shouldn't we that know right from wrong?
Yes. You know the problem. The problem is that somewhere along the line, thanks primarily, I believe, to the military intervention, those who had absolutely no reason moving within the corridors of decision making have eventually found themselves and are holding the nation captive in a stranglehold.
Terrible.
So you can hear a man who knows what to do, obviously knows the routes to what to do, and he writes a letter, and I can give you my last farthing that letter never got to the governor. It didn't. There is absolutely no governor who will read that type of letter and will not do something about it. There is none.
It's terrible. There's some things we cannot put online because otherwise, like I would say that some of the things I have personally done, I send letters. I push some of them straight to the people concerned. They don't respond.
Because
so we may not be able to even blame those in that office that they don't allow letters to get to governor.
Now let me give you.
It's terrible.
Now let me tell you another thing. In very small things, you know, capable people. MKO Abiola was launching that thing. He used to call it the Community Concord.
Yes.
You remember?
I remember.
Community Concord.
They had Concord and the Community Concord.
Yes. Every state had a Community Concord.
That's right.
So when he was coming to launch a Community Concord here in Cross River, the regular MC wasn't there, so I stepped in. And we did that thing. I didn't know at the time. I just did it the way I do my things. And by about 2 o'clock, 2:30, we were through. So Abiola called me aside and said, "Look, young man, come. That was a very well organized launching." And he congratulated me on my dexterity, microphone, and all that. And then he said, "But you have put me in a big trouble." I said, "What, sir?" He said, "Everywhere I have gone to launch this thing, we never closed before 6 p.m. And so when we came to Calabar, we were all in Calabar then. In fact, Namso Morin was the editor of the Community Concord. Remember?
Yes.
Namso, I think he died last year or 2 years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yes. Now, that he had asked his pilot to take the aircraft somewhere and come back by 5:30. So between now and 5:30, he doesn't even know where to go. He has nowhere to go. He thought he would leave this place and head to the airport and go away. So when we went, I took him to the metro at the time with a couple of young people like us. Young people were all the rage at the time because we had some capacity. And then we got those things done. I don't know what has happened to young people with all the facilities they have. I mean, if we had iPhones and these and
even landline,
we would have
done one.
Even landline, we would have taken the earth and put in our pockets.
That's true.
So I don't really know. Maybe they have their own reasons because they are supposed to be smarter, better, and by far more exposed than we are.
I have the privilege. God has taken me through kind of travails that I asked myself. I said, is there anything wrong with me? And when he spoke to me, I got inspired, and there's something called fear in my dictionary. What has happened is people want to belong. People don't like being singled out. People don't like Kamba or Macfian. They tell you something, you ask questions by asking questions or by wanting to do done right. So the intimidation part of it, but let's leave it there because we need to have you again. There's something you need to speak to before we open the phone line, just for maybe a call or two.
Yeah.
And that is the fact that we'll expand this conversation next week, or so after when you are back.
Okay.
Ijos. I have watched a video where Princess Angel Briggs, one of the most brilliant women activists in this country.
That's right.
She said
that
Oro people are Ijos. And that they were part of a delegation of Ijos that went to meet whosoever. And then just last week, the current president of Ijo Youth Congress made a video where he named Oro local government areas as part of Ijos. Total Chair, you are an elder statesman, and you are from that axis.
I am.
Are you Ijo?
No, I'm not.
Why?
Because I am Oro. But let me address that issue. There are Ijos who have been in Oro for I don't know how many generations.
As indigenous people?
Well, you turn indigenous eventually, but if you have been in a community for as long as most of them have been, they're still Ijo. So when they attend, I mean, you can't take Ijo away from them. When they attend their own meetings and say they're Ijos who live in Oro.
No, they're not saying Ijos that live in Oro.
Or Ijos who come from Oro.
Yes.
You really can't argue with them. Because this business of where people come from, it is absolute idiocy in my thinking to go and argue with a man that you don't come from here, you come from here. And you may even be talking to a man who was sired by a character from Burkina Faso. Because you never know where people are sired. Man meets woman, a child results. And the next thing, the child is an Oron child. There are very many people like that in every community. So I think it is a wrong battle. What we must ask is, what is the benefit of these Ijo people who claim to be Oron Ijos or Oron people in Ijo?
So is it possible that we have those people who claim that they are raw people and that they were part of the delegation that went with Angel Briggs to meet whosoever they met in the name of being Oro Ijos of Akwa Ibom extraction? Are they those people? Have you identified some of them?
Oh, I know people who are in Oro who are Ijo people. What they do when they go with Angel Briggs is their own business. Let me tell you, it is impossible in the age of struggle. They just are in a struggle.
Are we not in a struggle?
That's what I just wanted to say. We should be in a struggle.
Terrible.
But we relax, we take the oil money from Oron and we distribute it on our tables here in Uyo and go to sleep.
So like the state creation where the Jaws have Obolo State, the other one was called All River State or All Atlantic State or whatever, still have to do with the Jaws. Is Oro aligning with the Jaws for a new state creation, or they are aligning with the new Calabar State to join with Calabar?
There are
which of them? Which divide are you?
There are Oro elements in all those states. Truth be told, no Oron man is interested in living under bondage.
Is Oro marginalized?
It is, absolutely.
Let us open the phone line just for a call. This conversation is deep, and we will not stop doing what we've been demanded by God, directed by God to do. This is our contribution to making our society better. The number to call, the lucky caller, 0803 085 7755, or you call 0809 066 6909. And when you call, please, you can just make it 30 seconds so that we'll have a eminent guest take your answer. Now, the marginalization, what will have cured it? Because, we have a caller already. Hello? Hello? Can you hear us? Network issue. Now, okay, go ahead. very challenging network there. Now, the marginalization.
Yes.
What will have been done that will have said Oro is not marginalized? And from what point was Oro marginalized?
Good question.
The last take before we...
Good question.
Yes.
But it's got a very long answer. Because the business of what we call Akwa Ibom State started 1954, basically. That was when the people of the core state, Calabar, Ogoja, Rivers Province.
Not 1928, the BBO Union, where was Oro not part of that?
There was no such struggle. 1928, the Ibibios were trying to put together their team. And you can't deny a man for identifying his area and trying to organize it. So I don't think there's a problem with that. Oron attended that meeting. I don't know where it was. My grandfather represented Oron.
Interesting.
Yes, in the meeting.
I'm talking with the red man.
Chief John is John Awanasin. That's my mother's father.
We have just 30 seconds
Oh dear.
for the news.
And he told that distinguished audience that Oro has a distinct
Identity.
Yes. And they won't be part of this again. And they left. Eventually, I think a couple of years later, Chief Njongesian came over to Oron, this time in Oyubia, addressed an Oron conclave.
Yes.
And brought some scholarships. And Oron said, well, if the scholarship is just because we are supposed to be BBOs, we don't want part of it.
It's going to be deeper than we think. We are going to carry out that scholarship. We are going to give you that scholarship for next week. Or you are supposed to be out of the
state. Yeah, when I'm back.
Please.
So I want you to know that this business, this state is not just what we see.
No, it's not. Let's leave it there because of time. Listen, gentlemen, we have been hosting the Twitter to you that we all know, the Total Chair. And we had a mystery man who spoke on the mangrove island issue. We're going to bring Active Twitter to you back. The issues are too deep, and the link between the Boom Deep Seaport or Ibaka Deep Seaport and the mangrove swamp, as it affects us as a people,
of course,
will be very, very deep.
That is the point.
If you want to be part of this, 0802 757-7497. That's the number to call, and we'll talk. God bless you. See you on our next edition.
Hold up.